When it comes to supporting the cultural arts in Washington, Mary Ourisman is the belle of the ball.
Hello everybody, and welcome to our musical treat. We have a young lady who's going to swing, swing, swing.
I think I'm particularly good at fundraising through parties, galas. I suppose if I have a gift to give, that's mine to give.
Because of her devotion to public service, Washingtonians and tourists alike have an opportunity to experience a city that is overflowing with arts and culture.
I've been on the board of the Washington Opera, which is, by the way, now considered the National Opera of Washington by a decree from Congress. I've been involved since the early 90s. I'm very honored to participate with the Smithsonian. I am one of 50 members of the National Board of the Smithsonian Institution. I act as a mini ambassador for the Smithsonian, able to talk about it across the country and around the world. The Kennedy Center is another one of my involvements, and that I take great pride in. The new Air and Space Museum, which is located at Dulles Airport, is the largest museum in the world. There are approximately 80 planes on display there now at the museum, and when it's completed within 3 or 4 years, there will be over 220 planes.
When the task involves dinner, dancing, and a good cause, Mary Ourisman rolls up her sleeves and gets down to business.
Back in 1999, the late Katharine Graham and I co-chaired a gala fundraising event at Mount Vernon to raise money for an educational center. Tish Baldridge had published a book at that time called The Kennedy Style. And in the book, she talked about the only state dinner that was ever held out of the White House, which was held by Mrs. Kennedy in the early 60s. So we decided to try to recreate that party. We came down the river on PT boats from Washington, as Mrs. Kennedy did, and we were greeted by the Drum and Fife Corps and all the 50 states of flags. So it was a very, very special evening.
When this former Texan moved to Washington, it was love at first sight.
I chose to move here to Washington in 1991 to do some political fundraising, never intending to stay in Washington. But I fell in love with Washington, and I fell in love with my husband, who convinced me that Washington was a wonderful place to stay, and politics or no politics, that it was a culturally rich place to live. In Washington, I think we're very blessed to live in this city because the cultural arts are very much a part of our community and a part of our social life here, and they greatly enrich our lives here in Washington.